Dr. Sarah Chen pressed her face against the observatory's reinforced glass, her breath fogging the surface as she stared at the impossible sight stretching across the night sky. What had begun 3 months ago as a barely perceptible gravitational anomaly had grown into humanity's final countdown, a stellar mass black hole, silent and invisible, pulling their world inexorably toward oblivion. The tidal effects are accelerating, her colleague Marcus whispered behind her, his voice barely audible over the distant rumble that had become Earth's new heartbeat. The planet groaned and stretched as the black hole's immense gravity began to tear at its very fabric, creating forces that no human engineering could withstand. Sarah watched the horizon ripple like water, the familiar landscape of her childhood home warping into something alien and terrifying. The black hole itself remained hidden, a perfect sphere of nothingness that devoured light itself. But its effects were written across the sky in streams of superheated matter that spiraled inward, glowing brilliant white and gold as they approached the point of no return. In the cities below, humanity faced its strangest exodus. Some had fled to the southern hemisphere, hoping to buy precious hours as Earth's northern face turned toward the cosmic predator. Others had gathered in underground bunkers, as if concrete and steel could shield them from the fundamental forces of spacetime itself. But most, Sarah realized, had simply chosen to spend their final days with loved ones, watching the sky transform into something beautiful and terrible. The first sign of spaghettification appeared at dawn. Sarah's instruments registered the phenomenon before her eyes could process it. The northern mountain ranges began to stretch, their rocky peaks extending upward like fingers reaching toward the black hole's invisible maw. Trees bent at impossible angles, their roots still anchored to earth while their crowns strained toward the sky, pulled by tidal forces millions of times stronger than Earth's own gravity. "Look at the ocean," Marcus breathed, pointing toward the distant coastline. The Pacific had become a living thing, its waters drawn upward in massive columns that stretched hundreds of miles into the atmosphere. Whales and dolphins tumbled through these vertical rivers, their ancient songs lost in the chaos of displaced seas. The sight was simultaneously magnificent and heartbreaking, nature's final, desperate dance before the curtain fell. As the hours passed, time itself began to betray them. Sarah's atomic clock showed the relativistic effects taking hold, time moved slower for them, caught in the black hole's gravitational well, while the rest of the universe appeared to accelerate around them. Radio signals from the space stations became high-pitched squeals before cutting out entirely, their crews lost to a future that Earth would never see. The air grew thin as the atmosphere began its slow escape. Drawn away by forces that made hurricanes seem like gentle breezes. Yet somehow, in these final moments, Sarah found herself thinking not of the physics she'd studied her entire life, but of her grandmother's garden, where she'd first looked up at the stars and wondered what secrets they held. She'd never imagined one of those secrets would come calling. By noon, the northern hemisphere was stretching visibly, continents becoming unrecognizable as they elongated toward the event horizon. The Himalayas had become a needle of rock and ice pointing toward infinity, while the Arctic Ocean fell upward in sheets of frozen spray. The aurora borealis blazed continuously now, fed by particles streaming from Earth's disintegrating magnetic field. In the last hour, as the tidal forces finally overcame the planet's structural integrity, Sarah watched the impossible unfold. The Earth began to come apart not with violence, but with a strange, dreamlike quality. Chunks of continent drifted away like islands in a vertical sea, each fragment following its own trajectory toward the black hole's hungry heart. She saw cities floating in the air, their lights still twinkling as they tumbled through the sky. She saw forests uprooted wholesale, great swaths of Amazon rainforest spinning through the atmosphere like green confetti. Most remarkably, she saw people, thousands of them, falling not down but up, their bodies stretched and compressed by forces beyond human comprehension, yet somehow, impossibly, many still moving, still conscious, still undeniably human even as physics tore them apart. In the final minutes, as her observatory began its own journey toward the event horizon, Sarah experienced something no scientist had ever witnessed. Time dilation had reached its peak, and she watched the universe age around her and fast forward. Stars were born and died in seconds, galaxies wheeled through their cosmic dance in minutes, and she realized that from her perspective, she was witnessing the far future of everything that would ever be. The event horizon approached like a wall of perfect darkness, the boundary beyond which no information could escape. As Sarah crossed that threshold, physics abandoned all pretense of familiarity. Light bent in impossible directions, space folded in on itself, and she found herself falling not just through distance but through dimensions that had no names. Yet in that final moment, as the universe contracted to a single point around her, Sarah Chen smiled. She had become part of something larger than herself, larger than her planet, larger than her species. The black hole had not destroyed Earth, it had transformed it, made it part of something fundamental and eternal. Every atom of her world, every memory, every dream, every love song and lullaby, now existed forever in the singularity's embrace, woven into the very fabric of spacetime itself. The Earth was gone, but it had not vanished.